Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Foundation Diaries. If you don't know what Foundation Diaries is, it's basically where I tried a foundation for not just first impression, one day wear test, but I actually tried it for a whole week with different primers, powders, and everything like that, so that I could give you a full review on the product. And for today's video, we're going to be reviewing the new NARS Soft Complete Foundation. This is what it looks like. So if you're excited about Foundation Diaries, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you're notified every single time I post. And now without further ado, let's get started. So for today, for primer, I'm going to be using my Bobbi Brown face base. This is what it looks like. Now, this is a little bit more rich, and the reason why I want to use this today is because if you don't know me, I have combination skin. So the perimeters of my face are very dry, dehydrated, and my T-zone tends to be very oily. Now for my pores or my T-zone, I love this Makeup Forever Step 1 primer. This one is the mattifying one. If you have very oily skin, you would definitely love something like this because it has been my favorite for such a long time, and it really does help to keep your foundation matte. So now for foundation, we're going to be trying the new NARS Soft Matte Complete Foundation. This foundation was very intriguing when it first came out because it has a lot of good claims. One of them being medium to full coverage. It has a soft matte finish. It's 16-hour wear. It's oil free, shine proof, transfer proof, humidity proof, sweat proof, and protects from pollution and blue light. So the light that comes from your phone, it's supposed to protect you from this. This foundation retails for $40 and it comes in 34 shades. Now, as far as like shade range, I do have to say they have a lot of shades, but the shades are concentrated a little bit more in the medium and light shades, because I did notice that as far as like the dark shades, there's only like about 4 or 6, I'm not 100% sure. If you have more of that deeper skin tone, you might not be able to find your shade on this. Okay, and this is what it looks like. This is obviously the side with the sponge, and this one the side with the brush. As far as application goes, for this type of foundation, since it is a more full coverage mattifying type of foundation, I do prefer the sponge. Even though it did pick up a lot of the product, I still felt like it gave me the exact same amount of coverage. The only difference is that with the sponge, since it's moist, it gives you a little bit more time to work with the foundation. Now, one of the things that I did notice about this foundation is that once you apply it and kind of like blend it out, it's not moving. Like wherever that you placed it, that's where it's gonna stay. If you try to go and apply more, it tends to like start looking funny, or if you try to over blend it, you start noticing how it kind of like moves apart, but not in a cute way. So for me personally, this foundation is definitely one of those that you will want to apply with the sponge. If you're the type of person that is used to blending your foundation with the brush, as me, the only thing that I would say is that you have to work in sections just to make sure that it gives you that really nice flawless finish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you guys with the footage from the other days that I did try this foundation, and then I'll come back at the end and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Hi, so today is the first day I'm trying the NARS foundation. I forgot to do like show you guys what the makeup looked at the beginning of the day, but this is what it's looking like after I put it on at 7 in the morning and it's 3:33, and this is what it looks like. I think so far it looks pretty nice. I did notice a little bit of texture like it emphasized my pores. Other than that, I think it looks fine. Like I don't think, when I first applied, it looked very velvety, it looked really nice. So I'm gonna continue to wear it, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like at the end of the day, and we go from there. Okay, so this is what it looks in natural light. I really like the way the foundation looks. The color is definitely not my shade. I'm using a little simple one, and this one is in shade Barcelona, and as you can see, it's more peachy, it's more warm, so the shade is not right. I would have to go and pick up my right shade, but I really like the way it looks. When I first applied it today, I used a different primer and I used a different setting powder. And the setting powder that I use, for whatever reason, cling to certain areas. I'll insert a clip right now of what it looked like. But I put a different powder on top just to try to even everything out. And it looks pretty good. Let me see. I did use a mask earlier, and there's my lip product, but as far as like the actual foundation, I don't think that it transferred a lot, so we shall see. And we are ready. This is what the makeup turned out. I know it's a little smoky, a little Natasha Denona glam palette. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys want to see a review on this, but that's basically what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I wanted to play a little bit on my lashes. As always, are MUA Creation lashes from my friend Ariana. So now let's talk a little bit more about the foundation itself. So as you guys saw throughout the week, there was some days that the foundation behaved pretty good. There was also some days that I did notice like a little bit of a cakiness and a little bit of a like break apart, especially like in my chin area. But other than that, well, obviously the foundation itself worked pretty nice. Let's talk about the pros on this foundation. I really enjoy that it comes with more than one fluid ounce. If you only want one foundation, I think this would be pretty nice. Personally, I like to invest in more high coverage foundations only because I feel like they give me a little bit of more room to switch them around. I could wear them full coverage, and I also can sheer them down with either a tinted moisturizer or just applying a small amount. So personally, that it's something that I really enjoy. The packaging is actually pretty nice. I do like it that it's in a squeezy tube. I tend to apply my foundation If you guys know me, you know that I just grab it and squeeze it in my face. That's like what I like to do. So that becomes pretty handy. The little tube is actually pretty soft, so that's nice. The only thing that I'm not a huge fan is the cap. If you are familiar with NARS packaging, you probably know what I'm talking about. So this black cap, it has kind of like a velvety finish. But the problem with this is that as soon as you start touching it, or you know your fingers have foundation or any other product, you tend to leave your fingerprints on this lid and it starts to look pretty disgusting. So I actually had to be very careful when I would open it, because I wanted obviously to show it to you guys so that you could see what it looks like when it's new. But no, I've been opening it up with a napkin just so that I wouldn't get it dirty. I mean, that's not a huge thing, but something that is worth mentioning just in case that you have pet peeves with the packaging. As far as like coverage, it has really nice coverage. Wear time, it has an amazing wear time. I typically have to wear my foundation for about 12 to 13 hours a day, and this one held pretty good even on the days that I was very sweaty. I did notice a huge difference. Another thing that I did wanted to mention is that you don't have to set this foundation. It kind of dries to a more powdery finish. So if you are the type of person that don't like to set your foundations, or you have dry skin and you don't want to apply any powder, I think this one, it's pretty good. The day that I decided to wear it on its own and not apply any powder on top, I noticed that there was a little bit of transfer in my mask, but it wasn't nothing compared to all the other foundations that even though I applied powder, they transferred like crazy. That was not the case with this one. So that is something that I was very, very impressed. Another thing that I really enjoy about this foundation is that you don't necessarily have to set it in order to apply products on top. So you can apply powders, creams, anything that you can think of, and they look pretty nice on top. They blend pretty easily. They don't, like, the foundation doesn't move around or anything like that, because it does have that kind of property that once you applied it, it sets and it doesn't move, which is pretty awesome. Because if you like using cream blushes or cream bronzers, this is really nice, because I've tried it with multiple bronzers and cream blushes, and I have not noticed that it picks up or it gives me, like, it starts to separate or anything like that. It still looks very, very nice after you apply them. And like I said, you can blend either creams or powders on top, and there's no need to apply any setting powder or anything like that. I don't know if this ever happened to you, but especially with higher coverage foundations, sometimes you forget that you can't set the foundation before you actually go in with your cream products. And especially with the double wear, that happened to me so many times, where I would set it and I would forget that I still wanted to apply cream, blush, and bronzer, and my foundation would completely break apart, and that used to drive me nuts. So that is not the case with this foundation. You actually could just apply anything, whether powder or cream, on top, and it looks very, very pretty. As far as oxidation, I didn't notice that it changed color on me. That's also a plus. Another thing that I really enjoyed from this foundation is that it does give you that skin-like finish. Like, your skin doesn't feel heavy, doesn't feel cakey or anything like that. Obviously, you still feel it. It is a high coverage foundation, but it's nothing compared to other foundations. Now, for the things that I didn't like, or the cons on this foundation, personally, I think it's a little bit hard to learn how to use it, because on the first times that I tried it, I did apply it a little bit and then I wanted to see how buildable it was. But this is not one of those foundations that you can build on. Like, once you apply whatever amount you want to use, that's as much as you're going to be able to use, because if you try to apply more on top, it tends to break apart and it starts looking really bad, like really bad. So that's something to have in mind. In a way, it's not a con, because technically you would use less product, but then again, if you applied X amount and you decided that you wanted a little bit more, it's not something that you can actually build on. So that's one of the things that I was like, Another thing that I did wanted to mention is that there are specific primers that you need to use with this foundation depending on your skin type. So if you have very oily skin or whatnot, maybe a jelly primer will be perfect for this, just to make sure that you lock it in place. For people like me that have more combination skin, my favorite thing to use, and I use many hydrators. I use my Smashbox primerizer, I use my Wet n Wild serum primer, and I use all of those, and I didn't find that it gave me such beautiful finish as when I used it with this, the Bobbi Brown vitamin enriched face base. I noticed that with this one I really enjoy the finish. I really enjoy how the foundation will glide on top of it. If you have more combination skin, maybe using a more thick type of primer would be perfect. You can also just skip the primer and just use a very thick moisturizer, because on the perimeters of my face, if I wouldn't hydrate or prep the skin properly, I would notice that it would look very, very dry after like 4 or 5 hours. As far as like my pore area goes, since this is a more high coverage foundation, you definitely need to use something to blur the pores, because as you know, if you like wearing makeup and if you know about high coverage foundations, those foundations tend to emphasize pretty much anything. Like if you have pores or scars or anything like that, since they are more high coverage, they're a little bit thicker, they tend to emphasize all that texture. If you have more of a dry, flaky skin, I would definitely recommend you to stay away from it, because I do have a little bit of dryness like around my nose, and I do notice that it clings like crazy. I know that NARS has other foundations that are more for like dry skin and stuff like that, so I would recommend you more those foundations before trying this one out, because this is more geared towards more combination and oily skin. Overall, I think that it's a very nice foundation. I think that it's very long wearing, it's very high coverage. The price tag, it's up there, but I do feel that it's worth it, since you are getting 1.5 ounce rather than just a standard fluid ounce. So I think that for the price, it's not as bad, especially because you don't need a lot of product. There was one day that I decided to apply a smaller amount, and I still noticed that it gave me pretty good coverage. I still noticed that it lasts a very long time. In fact, I felt like it looked a lot better when you use less than when you use more. You just have to have in mind that you need to work quickly and blend pretty fast. But other than that, I think it's a really, really good foundation. It's very versatile. This foundation would be a beautiful, beautiful going out foundation, going to a party foundation. If you're a makeup artist, definitely check this out, because you would definitely love something like this, especially if you work with a lot of people with oily skin, combination skin. That foundation look very, very pretty. So like I said, if you like more of the high coverage, more of that full glam, you would love this foundation. It gives you such beautiful finish. It looks very, very pretty on camera and in regular sunlight. I'll show you guys right here what it looks like right now with the iPhone camera. I definitely do enjoy this foundation. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys are going to be picking it up, if this is going to be a purchase or a pass for you. Also, let me know in the comments if you guys want a review on the new Natasha Denona Glam Palette. And other than that, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every single time I post. Yeah, I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!